Combat countdown. No mercy.
Let's be honest about what we're seeing here. We are looking at the two most gifted pure athletes in the lightweight and super lightweight landscape. You have Tiofimo Lopez, a man who didn't just beat Vasily Lomachenko, he dethroned a god of the Matrix. Tiofimo has that take your soul kind of power combined with an athletic explosion that is frankly peerless at 140 pounds. And yet, standing across from him is the boogeyman of the sweet science, Shakur Stevenson, a man who makes elite world champions look like they've never laced up a pair of gloves. It's the irresistible force meeting the immovable object is Tiofimo's takeover real enough to crack the most sophisticated defensive code in the sport today. Because if Shakur wins this, we aren't just talking about a champion, we're talking about the pound-for-pound king. This fight is not about who hits harder. At this level, power is assumed. This fight is about control. Tiofimo Lopez fights to disrupt. Shakur Stevenson fights to organize. One looks to impose chaos, the other looks to impose order. And in boxing, order usually wins unless chaos arrives early. Tiofimo Lopez is at his best when the fight is uncomfortable, when the rhythm is broken, when decisions have to be made in fractions of a second. He doesn't need volume, he needs moments, a sudden burst, a sharp exchange, something that forces his opponent to reset their expectations. Because when Tiofimo believes he can change the fight in an instant, he becomes dangerous, not just physically or psychologically, but belief cuts both ways. When Tiofimo is forced to wait, when he is made to think, when the fight slows down, his aggression can turn into impatience. And impatience is the space Shakur Stevenson lives in. Shakur Stevenson does not rush. He does not overextend. He does not take unnecessary risks. He positions himself to be missed, and when you miss him, he makes you pay just enough to remember it. A jab, a step to the side, a quick counter before you can reset. Over time, those moments accumulate. You don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel hurt, you just look up and realize you're down rounds. That's the danger of fighting Shakur Stevenson. He wins without announcing it. The central question in this fight is whether Tiofimo can interrupt that process before it settles in. Because if Shakur establishes distance early, if he controls where exchanges take place, this becomes a long, frustrating night for Tiofimo. Not dramatic, not violent, just systematic. But Tiofimo doesn't need to outbox Shakur. He needs to break him out of rhythm. He needs to force exchanges on his terms. He needs to make the fight irregular, and that is easier said than done. Because Shakur rarely gives you what you're looking for. He doesn't stay in front of you. He doesn't chase moments. He waits for mistakes. And Tiofimo, by nature, is a fighter who creates them, both for his opponent and sometimes for himself. That's where the fight becomes a mental test. Can Tiofimo stay aggressive without becoming reckless? Can he pressure without chasing? Can he accept a slow round without forcing a fast mistake? Because every time Tiofimo lunges and misses, Shakur takes something from him. Not his health, his confidence. A clean touch here, a pivot there. A reminder that the target is not where you thought it was. And that's how Shakur turns urgency into frustration. By the middle rounds, this fight will reveal itself. Either Tiofimo has found moments to disrupt the flow, or Shakur has imposed his structure. If Tiofimo lands something meaningful early, not even a knockdown, just a moment that changes the temperature, the fight shifts, Shakur will still be composed. But now he has to solve a problem he doesn't usually face if that moment never comes. The margin widens quietly. Because Shakur Stevenson doesn't dominate you, he outlasts your ideas. By the later rounds, Tiofimo will know whether he is in control of the fight or reacting to it. And once you're reacting to Shakur, you're behind. This fight comes down to a narrow window. Early disruption versus sustained control. Instinct versus discipline. If Tiofimo can force chaos before the order sets in, he has a chance to steal the night. If Shakur establishes order, this becomes a masterclass. Not loud, not explosive, just decisive. And that's why this fight isn't about hype. It's about who gets to dictate the terms first.
Combat countdown. No mercy.